Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our live today. It's late Friday afternoon. Welcome from wherever you're watching. My name is Lady Winnie Allison. I am here to share and bring to you a lot of love from the UN, from the National Unity Platform Convention in Los Angeles, California. It happened this past weekend. I was in attendance. It was nice to be amongst like minds, well-intended minds, in the presence of the President, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. We really enjoyed being around each other, sharing ideas, learning from one another, learning more than we already know. We had a lot to take back, which a lot of it has to do with confidence. We learned who is who, and I met a lot of people who had been watching my live videos, but I had no idea. Like I said, I love what I do. My country, Uganda, I'm passionate about. It's something that I do without any regrets. I do because I fight, especially for the underdog, those who are suffering, those who are, those who are just the mess that Museveni has caused in Uganda. I am all about fighting to see that Uganda is changed and Uganda is for Ugandans and is serving Ugandans. It was really an eye-opening experience for me. It was my very first convention, my very first National Unity Platform convention. So I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed my time. I met several people. I met the president himself. I mean, when you meet His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, something changes about you. The truth, the honesty, the purity, the strength in a person that you can take from. Okay, what I did was to take some strength from His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. His wisdom, his words of wisdom are immeasurable. They're immense. His experience, I mean, he talks about, what has happened to him since Arua, since 2018. I started following His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu since 2018 when the incident in Arua happened. I was sold. I realized that we Ugandans had been lied to for so many years. So many years, because only until Kyagulanyi Ssentamu came on scene did we really truly see Museveni's intentions for Ugandans, okay? Natural Ugandans, native Ugandans, Ugandan born. And obviously after that, there's lots of media. Hello, hi, and Amiro, how are you? Simon, nice to meet you. Zaina, thank you for coming. I was overwhelmed by people who were watching this program that I didn't know were watching. So I appreciate all of you. It gave me so much strength, so much. People who inspired me, that said that I did something good, because I always wondered. But like the way I came to do this is that I had a feeling. I had something inside me that no matter what I did, I had to do this. If I hadn't started doing this, I'd probably not be in the right space of mind. So this has been so important to me. But I was talking about His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. If anything, meet him and just listen, okay? I had plans about what I had to say or what we'd talk about. Upon meeting him, all of that vanished, because then he started talking and I realized that I should listen more than have to add anything or say something or miss what he has to say. So that was powerful. It was really powerful. It was a great event. A lot of people were there. Many Ugandans, many well-wishers for Ugandans. Sejinja Foundation was there with some people from his college where he's a professor. Lots of Ugandans, well-wishers for Uganda. We had some Sudanese. I had a comrade that we met from Sudan. Sudan is going through, just like the whole of East Africa, okay? East Africa is unstable right now because of Museveni. All of East Africa. Think about Somalia, Uganda, Congo, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi. All of East Africa, Sudan is unstable because of Museveni. And I wish the world could see the fact that if they could take out Museveni, Uganda and the rest of the East would be peaceful. So in our meetings with the different nationalities, we had somebody from Nigeria who is a strong supporter of His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu and People Power. We had several admirers of His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Native Americans who came on to support, who love what we're doing. People came, Ugandans from Canada, Germany, Australia, Uganda, all parts of the United States, countries that I may not even name. So many countries were represented. People were happy. We were all happy to be there for the right reason, for the same reason. So that, Ethiopia, yes, even Ethiopia, it's Museveni that's destabilizing. There was media that came out, African News something network that says Somalia, the president of Somalia has asked African Union to remove all the so-called peacekeepers from Somalia because Somalia now wants to handle its own issues. And I wish that's what they had done all along, because all of this instability that has happened in Somalia, causing Museveni to pretend to send troops there. Several Ugandans have gone there and died because Museveni is playing ping pong, playing the savior while causing the atrocities. All of that has costed Dora, thank you so much for being here. It has all been Museveni's fault. Talk about M23 is Museveni. Joseph Kony, the LRA war was Museveni. Al-Shabaab is Museveni. Every instability in Congo, the other ADF group is Museveni. All of these atrocities have collectively been caused by Museveni. And I wish we could experiment by figuring out how to not have Museveni involved in anything. Like, I wish the UN would say, we're going to have other peacekeeping forces other than Uganda being involved. They would see the difference. Truly, the perpetrator of all evil, all wars, all refugees, people running away from their countries, East African region has been Museveni. Why, if you compare, why doesn't West Africa go through something massive like this, like across the border type of atrocity? Why doesn't North Africa have something like that? Why doesn't South Africa, I'm talking Namibia, South Africa, Republic, all of those southern countries of Africa, why don't they have anything like this? Why is it that East Africa, where Museveni is involved in the AU, where Museveni eventually is sent as a peacekeeper, I hope that the UN can have their eyes open, that this so-called peacekeeper, just like they lied to Ugandans that Museveni brought peace, there has not been peace in Uganda since Museveni went in the bush. And like Museveni tells us, when he writes his books and when he tells all those stories while he's, Nkonge, you're welcome, Shirley, welcome. When he tells all these stories about when we were in the bush, we went through here, we went through that, we did that. Since that time, okay, Uganda has not had peace. So even if Museveni will tell you, or the NRMs will go around saying, oh, Museveni brought peace, now we can have this and that, now we can do this and the other, we can picture a time when Obote was in government, for example, because Obote was the one who brought in Museveni to try to get his second term in Uganda, because it had been taken away. So when Obote was trying to strategize to come back into power, Julius Nyerere had empowered Museveni to come on and help Obote re-establish in Uganda. And since that time, okay, Uganda has not been peaceful. We talk about Idi Amin doing all these things to people. Idi Amin was more like a tough parent, okay? A tough parent. And when John Aniluwum was killed by Museveni, which was the last straw on Idi Amin's government, then Obote was ushered in. But I can tell you that during Obote's time is when the Luero people were being killed, because Museveni was coming in at night, killing people and showing in. At night, he came in Obote's uniforms, military uniforms. In the daytime, he came back to condole with people wearing Museveni's uniform. And when Obote was exiting government, Obote told the Acholi people, which is going to bring me to something I need to talk about today. Obote told people and said, I'm warning you, this man here is not Ugandan. This man that is trying to look like the righteous man who's saying he's bringing peace to Uganda, you know, Museveni said all the right words. But while he, you know, Obote was giving in, you know, ending his term, feeling like it's because Museveni worked through Obote's government in the military in all the specific spots where he needed to be. Can you believe that the attack on Lubiri while Obote was still in government was all orchestrated and planned by Museveni? Here's how it happened. Because some of these things, we have to realize that when people say Obote's regime, they did this and that, we need to unwind those tapes, because it was Museveni making Obote look bad so that Ugandans embrace Museveni and kick Obote out and then believe continuously that Museveni is the righteous person. The Lubiri of Uganda, at the time of Obote's regime, when it was attacked, Museveni had gone to meet Obote in a meeting where because Obote had become had made some sort of friendship with Museveni, like a confidant, whereby because Museveni helped Obote come back to government, Obote then decided to trust him a lot. At a meeting before the bombing of Lubiri, Museveni meets with Obote and discusses, you know, to get this Baganda to calm down, to just break the horse's back, let us do something with Lubiri to weaken the Kabaka and all of that. And I know Baganda still have the sentiment that Obote is the one who finished Buganda, okay? And I'm not here to fix emotions. I'm here to give you the facts so that when the time comes, you can think back and say, you know what? That makes sense, because we have to figure out how we got here and how come we are okay with this. Why are we okay with this? This is not normal in any nation. And if you compare any other country, there is no such thing like the way Museveni is doing what he's doing, okay? So Museveni meets with Obote and says, you know what? If you want to break Buganda's back, let us attack Lubiri. And Obote says, no. That I will not do. You know, Obote had some sort of sovereignty over Buganda where he'll just say, you know what? I'm not touching Buganda. First of all, his wife was from Buganda. So he sort of understood the respect and all of that. You know, he had a wife from Buganda. So Obote said, absolutely not. We are not attacking Lubiri. We are not attacking Buganda. Museveni left that meeting in agreement saying, you know what? We're not going to do that. Because there was a few people who were in the meeting about his plan to attack Buganda, Museveni decided to go against the wish of Obote and go ahead and order the military to go and attack Lubiri. So in a sense, those who were present thought that Obote had given Museveni permission to go and attack Lubiri. So when he attacked Lubiri, it was at his own accord, because then he came in and did what he did, because later on he can come in and act as the savior. And that game Museveni has played everywhere. That's going to bring me to something that I shared today that so many people have said so many things about. I've even lost friends who I've known for a long time. I shared something about Olara Otunu. Okay? The reason why I shared that is charity begins at home. Okay? So many things have happened in Uganda. So many. I mean, Uganda is on the map every day, every month, every week, every whatever, because of what is happening to Ugandans. Atrocity today and tomorrow and every day. So I shared that because The truth about Olara Otunu's appointment and sending Olara Otunu to try to get this UN position. First of all, Olara Otunu did not want the position. Museveni has figured out that because in Acholi, there's a new group or organization that is called Rochopajo. It's a small, like a circle. Like people do things, they get into groups and say, let's do something for our community. Okay. So a few of the Acholi leaders have come together in something called Rochopajo, and Olara Otunu is part of that. Okay. So Museveni has figured out that Acholi people might be getting some sort of coalition or strength in numbers by focusing on matters of their homes. Because as you know, so many programs or promises have been made to Acholi people that Museveni has not been able to fulfill. Somehow, as a human being, you get fed up and you start working on your own affairs. Some Acholi people are doing it successfully. So there is something called Rochupajo, which means regenerating our home, or rejuvenating home. Rochupajo, that's what it means. And so Olara Otunu has been part of that organization. You will remember that Olara Otunu has been an international figure for a while. He served in the UN for some time. Obviously, the times of the Obote's regime is when most of the elite Acholi, Langi, northern Uganda, and other regions of Uganda were sent abroad to do sorts of missions and things like that. Olara Otunu is from a very prominent family, actually. So Museveni figures out, how am I going to tame Acholi? This guy is going to, his leadership and his skills and his international knowledge and all of that is going to shake us a little bit. When Museveni senses, like he sensed Anita Among trying to become something, Museveni will figure out how to destabilize or shave off some sort of growing, popularity. So because Olara Otunu and a few others are in Rochupajo, Museveni antlers went up and said, you know what? Something's going on here. So Museveni, against Olara Otunu's will and freedom, said, Olara Otunu, I'm sending you and I'm endorsing you to go and run for UN, whatever public office, UN chief. Okay? The reason why I say that is impossible for him to win. He's 75 years old. He has been on the scene for a while. But the fact that Uganda is riddled with issues of human rights violations, issues of problems. You cannot put out the neighbor's fire while yours is still burning. That is all I said, and that's all that I meant by the fact that despite the fact that he has been shared or sent to go ahead and do this by Museveni, Museveni did not do this because Olara Otunu can get the position, no. Just like Museveni does to a lot of other leaders who are prominent, Museveni wants to reduce Olara Otunu to nothing by him losing at a stage like this, so that even him as a person, he can say, man, I'm not good enough. I am not good enough. That is the goal of Museveni, is to bring Olara Otunu to the smallest he can be. He has done that to many sharp, intellectual, intelligent, bright Ugandans. Museveni will put you in a place and make sure your inner being is beaten to pulp. The same thing he does to political prisoners. He has figured out that killing the human inside will cause this person to not be able to mold back and be, and exist as a full human being. So Olara Otunu's position, yes, had that position been viable to a Ugandan, trust me, Donna Yebale, or whatever that is, the name is, Adonia, would have been sort of a choice. Adonia does not have his office at the UN right now. He's actually a foreign minister, Minister of Foreign Affairs in Uganda right now. If that position of the UN was viable, there would be a Munyarwanda up there right this minute. Not our Olara Otunu. Many Acholi leaders, and I know that this hurt to the core for our people, many Acholi leaders have been lifted by Museveni only to get them to their death or to demean them so that they can't even become a gatekeeper. That is Museveni's intention. You can name them, the lion of Somalia, of Mogadishu, was brought back to come and become, you know, a lead of the police, whatever. Eventually, he's not here, you know. Many of these leaders who are in opposition, when Museveni senses that you are something, he will bring you closer, bring you so close, and then drop you. Anita Among was something, okay? He brought her closer and did something to her. Kadaga, powerful lady, did the same thing, and they're nowhere to be found. So, being that Olaro Tunu has a CV and an experience of that sort, you can tell this is a means to reduce Olaro Tunu to the weight of his clothing. That's the purpose of this. It is not intended that Olaro Tunu should go and thrive where he's going. If a miracle happens and he wins, Olaro Tunu will not survive, like many Acholi leaders who have not survived, okay? Many thriving, intellectual, intelligent Acholi leaders who are exposed on an international level have not survived. And I'm not saying it's just in Acholi people, in the Acholi community. I'm saying this, I remember when, I don't know if I want to go there, but just so you know, somebody I knew very well, somebody very close to me, once rose up the ranks very quickly, very, very quickly by Museveni. And shortly after, we buried this person, okay? So when he sees that you're on this international platform, that international platform, it is not to cheer you on. It is to make sure when you drop to your end, not to be applauded by anyone. So right now, Olaro Tunu is ranking about number 5 out of 8 candidates. In the first poll, he was one of the last 2, so he has moved up 3. But the person who is up there is Miss, I think a lady from South America. She's one of the ladies who is doing really, really well, and she's in the first position. My Acholi people, it is not because I don't care for our people. It's just that we have lost way too much. Every region has lost. Trust me, every region has lost. Every region of Uganda has suffered and lost. But Acholi, that 20-year war has diminished several elders, several leaders, several people in positions and places whereby the younger people are lost. And so when we have misguided missiles like the ones that came at me today, people are taking notes, okay? I've had to block some people. I had some very prominent friends that, you know, they're doing big things, whatever they are, but they still can't figure out that we have had so much loss. It's about time that we ourselves guard our own sisters and brothers from harm. Why is it that this one is sort of even hard to speak about? We have heard, for example, Honorable Dongo Ta, and this goes to speak about timing. I talked about time and how Olaro Tunu is about 75 years old, competing with people who are, what, 50s, 60s. Kofi Annan was from a country, Ghana, that has not been known to have war in the last 100 years, okay? The last significant major atrocities that happened in Ghana were slavery. I think the biggest one is slavery. Yes, they may have fought independence here and there, but Ghana, where Kofi Annan came from, was not a burning bush like Uganda is right now. That just goes to say that timing is of the essence. He's older. He has lapsed on being on the scene internationally, whereby he'd have grips on current affairs. Tell me how he's going to be concerned with Palestine when Uganda, you know, political prisoners are, he's not able to negotiate change with Museveni. He's not able to negotiate, you know, release of this, or questioning even people who are lost or people who are disappeared. Eddie Mutwe was in the media. He never said anything, you know, but I can tell you that it is because Museveni must break certain people, and Olaro Tunu moving back permanently to Uganda from the time that, of his so-called retirement from Canada, it is a major threat. Sorry about that. It's a major threat that Museveni feels he needs to counter right away. So that's all I have to say about this thing with Olara. It is not because I don't respect him. It's not because I don't think he, he would perform if he were miraculously picked. I just think that it is a waste of time. It's clickbait. It's to give Acholi something to say, oh, Museveni loves us. Actually, Museveni cares for Acholi people. Look what Museveni has done. That is what this Olara Tunu is. It's clickbait. It's bait to think that Museveni loves us. Museveni cares about us. Museveni truly does not care about us, because in that region, so much has been left behind. A lot has been left behind. When you see pictures of Acholi, schools or hospitals, or even in constituencies where people like Honorable Mao come from, you will not believe the status of schools in those areas. It's unbelievable. So there is no goodwill here from this guy. No goodwill from Museveni whatsoever. None. None. Same problems for Uganda. Same issues for Uganda. It's just to break Olara Tunu's back so that he can not ever say that he was not given anything. Or Acholi cannot say, Museveni doesn't care for us. I just wish Acholi people would see Museveni for who he is. And sometimes it's hard to see, because when you have become a prisoner for so long, you tend to believe that your life is best as a prisoner, and that you're living your best life as a prisoner of your time. Many, many, many northern Ugandans have not been able to break out and come out and try a different means of life to oppose the government, for example. Most of the backlash I got today was from northern Uganda, which I understand. It's hard to think outside of your reality. I get that completely. But respectfully, that's my opinion, and you don't have to agree with me. Let's wait and see what happens, okay? But don't ever for 1 second think that Museveni loves Acholi. No. LRA war persisted for 20 years because Museveni wanted to finish Acholi people, okay? To finish Acholi people. Salim Saleh has pitched base in Acholi because he wants to see to it that Acholi never lift their head or try something against the Museveni. Right now, the Balalo are killing Acholi like no tomorrow. They are taking over land like you won't believe. And there is no place to report anything. Northern Ugandans are not able to fish. The boats are all confiscated. In areas like West Nile where they depend on fishing, all boats are confiscated. Only the military are on the docks or in the rivers catching fish, rivers and lakes. Ugandans have been forbidden from catching any fish for their own sakes. So areas that live on fishing now have to starve. Areas that depended on farming have lost their land. Areas that depended on, market economy, trade, and all that, they have no goods. There's nothing to trade off. Nothing. There's a lot of death from famine, a lot of death from just economic failure and inability. In that region, East Karamoja, Acholi, West Nile, all of that area has the same struggles. And just like the rest of Uganda, the same struggles. Okay? So it's not because I don't like Olara Tunu. I respect him. But we have to allow some of our people to become grandparents and great-grandparents, just like these Rwandese people who don't die. How come Rwandese people do not die? How come the times that they say that Obote was the one killing people in Luero, how come Rwandese were not being killed? How come? Yes, Brayo, all the boats in the lakes and rivers for the fishing natives, for example, from the West Nile, were burned. They were burned to ashes. Millions of boats, of money in fishing was destroyed. How do you expect somebody way down in West Nile with a livelihood of fishing to recover from something like that? That's where school fees comes from. That's where, money for rent or whatever comes from. That's where money for food here and there comes from. That's the only source of income that anybody might have. How does Museveni expect anybody to live like that? Besides that, the land in Acholi, the people like the Brigadier Temas who are now being retired have helped these people steal land. Kaunda grounds in Gulu has been stolen by the Brigadier Temas family and handed over to Salim Saleh and the Banyarwanda to distribute and use. And they gave them a few acres. Most of the MPs in northern Uganda got a bit of a share of the Kaunda grounds in favor because they helped acquire the land and handed it over to the Salim Salehs, to the Rwandese. So Rwandese in northern Uganda are freely living, enjoying the land. People disappearing day and night. People are being killed in the farms. People are killed outside, anywhere. I understand teachers or literates, people who write or teach, are just disappearing. And that brings me to the topic of, I've posted a video about Reverend Father Eric. Okay. Reverend Father Eric has been a very vocal Acholi, one of the very vocal Acholi leaders. Like I said, most, and this is not just in Acholi, most Acholi leaders who have come out, who have been prominent, who have been something in a high position, have either survived because of security alerts. I can tell you myself, I've contacted people in high places in Acholi, and I've warned them when there's a security alert, and I've said, take heed, be careful, do not do this, do not do that, do not do the other. I wouldn't name names, okay? I'm not going to call it. Myself, I have called people and said, there is a plot by Museveni to do away with you. Be careful, do not do this, do not do that, do not do the other. And that's how a few people have survived. All of the high names and big names in politics and positions and this, that, and the other survived due to security alerts. Not because they have some magical power. Because Acholi has no successful grandparents. None. Great-grandparents. None. You cannot be prominent, successful, retired from a big office, retired from, business or whatever, economically well-placed, and retire like that, successfully, as you are, and continue without Museveni taking over your business, or the Rwandese finally finding how to cripple your source of income and taking assets too. The people like Brigadier Tema who are now being retired, they're being retired obviously because it is Muhoozi's turn, according to them. It's time for Muhoozi to have his own army, have his own allies, have his own people. He doesn't like the intimidating old gang of his father. And so, because it's in the NRM or UPDF, retirement is not an option until Museveni gives you one. You don't sign a contract. Like in the US military, people sign up for contracts every 4-year or 8-year. You can extend your contract, but if you're done at the end of your contract, you're free to go and be a civilian and do whatever you do. Just go about your life. In Uganda, Museveni, because when you leave, he thinks you're going to go and regroup and try to take over his government. That's all Museveni thinks about. Nothing else in Uganda. All of the things that he does, it's all about breaking the back of some sort of success that is happening around him in Uganda. So the retirement of the Otemas is just to, let them off so that Muhoozi's new whatever ushered in, which has to do with a lot of M23, a lot of the military that are from Rwanda. You will see names like Opio, but they don't look like Opio, like the MP of Busiro County. A whole Munyarwanda calls himself Opio. A lot of that is happening. So in the military, there will be that as well. But, and not far from now, we will start burying those prominent names. Because in Museveni's head, the Katumba Wamalas, the Brigadier Temas, those people that are coming off this sort of an onion are now a worry to him, because he knows that they know each other and they can figure out a way to come together and do something around or against him. So soon they'll start dropping like leaves, which is expected. Nobody retires and successfully enjoys their life, continues to live and feel free in Uganda as a Ugandan. It's only meant for Rwandese. Only Rwandese people live up to retirement. The Sam Kutesas have been here forever. The Ruhakana Rugundas have been here forever. Amama Mbabazi, they've been here forever. Those types of people, you will not hear that they dropped and disappeared. Ruhindi, I was a kid when Ruhindi was an MP in Nakawa. Till today, he's still an MP. You know what I mean? So, old age is for Rwandese according to Museveni's script. Ugandans, these guys who are retiring, they will lose. You can see that it's purposefully done, And soon we'll start bearing one by one by one by one. It is the normal. It is the norm. It's going to happen. So speaking of Reverend Father Eric, who I shared the video. So Reverend Father Eric is from Gulu. He's a Catholic priest and has been very vocal in his speeches, even in church, especially in church, where he meets his group of people. Reverend Father has spoken directly to the justice system that is failing. He has spoken directly to the politicians who are failing Uganda. He has spoken directly to Museveni and his people and the way they're failing Ugandans. You know, only a blind person, only a really dense person can support the NRM. You cannot be normal, like a normal human being with a conscience, and think that the NRM is a good group of people, and think that Museveni is a great person. I cannot even begin to name for you the list of things that Museveni and his government have done to Ugandans. I cannot. If I start, we'll have to stay here till tomorrow. So because people who speak up end up dead, Reverend Father Eric of Gulu has not been an exception. While he speaks during his church services and says this and that, speaks truth to power, really. That's what he does. Reverend Father Eric has had several threats against his life. He has survived being killed at least 3 times in Gulu area. Father Eric has lost 4 of his priests that are surrounding him, that he works very closely with, because sometimes when they stage these events like the accidents, somebody else might die instead of the one they're intended to die. Father Eric has gotten all sorts of messages. He has survived 3 times, and he says anytime something could happen to him. It is so sad that it is his own brothers of Acholi land, the likes of the Otemas, are the ones planning and plotting all of these things. That the Musevenis, the Salim Salehs will send you actual Acholi people to go and plot the end of life of these people. You know? So if anybody who supports the NRM, I know that some of the people, after I posted the Otunu thing, several of them came at me today. But I can tell you that if you cannot tell that Ugandans are suffering to this extent because of a president who has been in power for so long, a president who seems to be interested in putting fires outside of Uganda, while Acholi land has gone through the LRA war for 20 years, while the Acholi people, or the people of Uganda, are struggling and poor and lacking all basic necessities, and you still support, you have the strength to come and fight me on social media. Like, I don't know what to say to you. So I've been busy blocking and unfriending because I honestly, it's hard to undo reality of certain people. It's very difficult. It takes a lot of teaching. Like I can tell you that many years ago, I did not see things any different. I saw things maybe like they did. It takes a process. It takes questioning to say, how did we get here? By the way, how did we get here? How is it that other countries do not go through what we're going through? Hi, John, are you welcome? Why is it that, thank you, Anne Julie, you're welcome. Angela, you're welcome. Why is it that only Uganda goes through such a decline and continuous decline? Why is it that only in Uganda do we have, you know, a failing system? Why is it only in Uganda where the only successful people are the people from a certain, I don't want to say region because I cannot bundle together Banyankole and these Rwandese people. I have to speak specifically about these Rwandese people. And I know there are Rwandese people who may not even ally or want what the Musevenis are doing. But it's a little bit difficult to see because of you also sitting back and watching. They say no action means you're an accomplice, or silence means agreement. If you cannot come out and say this is wrong, that's wrong, we don't agree with this, or we agree with that, it means you are complying and you agree with everything that Museveni is doing. That you do believe that what he's doing is okay. Just like every NRM person in Uganda who still calls themselves NRM or UPDF or whatever, truly, a sane Ugandan who is not a believer of NRM, you should not be seen with an NRM person. You should not be an ally in any way to say, we don't believe in politics, but we can. No, 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 no. You must reject NRM with everything that it is, because it's an environment or it's a people who will never, never, never see Ugandans or the suffering in Uganda for what it is. They will never see it that way, no matter what you do. When I watch people on social media, all these NRM people, you wonder where, these are your relatives and friends, by the way. Many of us who come out and speak out have been rejected by our family and friends. Many of us. I can't tell you how many I have still left on my side. I can't. Many of us are like orphan children. Like, we're alone. Maybe you have a friend who is in Kamoli, they're hiding, they're friends with you, but not in public, you know, and that speaks to Ugandan friends that you grew up with, people you knew. They're now in hiding. They don't want to associate with you. They don't want, give it back to them. So if somebody thinks that being an NRM is it, give that right back. Say, you know what? I cannot support this energy. I am out of here. Because the more you empower them, the more you feel like you can be in the middle. And I know a lot of politicians or a lot of Ugandans feel like they can't be far right or far left. But in the middle is where the mess happens, is where you're either on the right side of history, on the right side of current affairs in Uganda for that matter, because Uganda unfolds every day and gets worse every day under the same president. Those NRM people, you must figure out how to distance yourself with. Even if they're close relatives, they must feel the pinch. They must feel the pinch of us having prisoners in prison for no reason. If you work for the courts, there has to be a way. If you work in business, there has to be a way. If you work, you know, whatever you do, figure out how to separate yourself from being being stained by the blood of the NRM. Really, that's how I have to say it. You cannot sleep at night knowing that what Museveni is doing is not right, but then you wake up in the morning and you support him. Where is your conscience? And who says that it's happening to those people and will not get to you? It happens to everyone. Anita Among has been, this was funny. From wherever she fell, the highs, I don't know, you know, speakership and all that power she had, Anita Among has been appointed something at very local village level. A very local office in her county. I think I shared it on my page. That goes to show you that tomorrow is never promised when you are in the NRM. Your life is not promised or guaranteed. You just never know when Museveni is done with you. You never know. You just never know. People like Raila Odinga of Kenya, for example, Museveni had to do away with. Raila Odinga went to see the president in Sudan who is on house arrest. And while apparently you cannot see I think it's called Riek Machar, you cannot visit that president without getting permission from Museveni. That's how much I say an East African effort to oust Museveni will be the best, the most ideal situation to get Museveni to bring peace to East Africa. It's the ideal situation. A coalition of all of us from the East, from East Africa, to get this whole family uprooted and out of that region. It'll bring peace. It's guaranteed. It will reduce refugee influx. All refugee issues will be reduced. Somalians that are all over the world seeking refuge, you know, Ethiopians, Rwandese are all over the world, Congolese are all over the world, Burundians are all over the world. You know, why must everyone have to leave? Because Museveni is in the neighborhood. You know? So a coalition of unity or efforts. So speaking of Riek Machar, he cannot be seen or visited by friends, people in politics or whomever in his home without permission from Museveni. Like, Why is that even necessary? Why is that even necessary? Over in Tanzania, same stuff. This Suluhu lady has been supported by Museveni throughout the election. All of the atrocities, all of the numbers, all of the election fraud, all of that's from the playbook of Museveni. Kenya has started to reject Ruto for being Musevenized. And he's going to have it really tough in the next election. You Kenyans have realized that Ruto is also from the playbook of Museveni. I understand Ruto has blood relations with Rwandese. You know, they know how to plan and place their people. In fact, the son of Museveni, who is called, Museveni has a son poised to become something in Kenya, who is actively in the military of Kenya. He's called, what is the former president? Uhuru. Museveni has a son in the Kenyan army who's called Uhuru and is poised to take on the ranks in Kenya, eventually will topple and become just like Uganda. So in their plans, Kagame's son takes over in Kenya, in Rwanda, Museveni's son in Kenya, Muhoozi in Uganda, and in Sudan, they're sharpening somebody else that is related to the Kagames to take over that place. The only reason they've been able to not be able to do that in Congo is because President Trump has gone into Congo and helped the Congolese avoid or abate whatever plans there were by Museveni and Kagame about taking over or cutting part of Congo to become part of their country, a country that they would name eventually. So anybody who is a supporter of these people, please, if that's where you go to buy tomatoes, change your location. If that is who you call sometimes, stop it. If that is, make them uncomfortable. Make them feel like the political prisoners feel where they are. Several times they've been brought to court. Alex Waiswa Mufumbiro, Smart, the Achileo Chivumbi, all the political prisoners were brought back to court today, and the same useless reason has again been played to say that the state does not have witnesses to present so that the case can commence. Several National Unity Platform prisoners have been held. They've not been tried. Some have not gone through even preliminaries for the last 6 years. They're just there. Bobby Young has been there 6 years now. He has not been tried. They don't know if he committed the crime. There's not been judgment, but he's been held by Museveni all along. What human being does that? If you support NRM, tell me why that's normal. Tell me how somebody is a criminal without you even having evidence. I mean, the state does not have witnesses to truly say or adjudicate the fact that these guys actually did something wrong. Where, in which world is that normal? Why is that normal? People like the Chibalamas, 18, and I'm sure there's more, just vanished. And Museveni talks about it luxuriously, like, yes, the 18, we have them. Museveni will make statements like, I presided over the killing of Sheikh Shirevu. Why do you Ugandans, NRM, think that NRM brought peace? Where is the peace when the president is presiding over killings of Ugandans? Where's the peace? I understand these days there's a curfew. You cannot stay out for so long. If you're out, mysteriously somebody arrests you and you're taken to a jail. You're not taken and released because you're in the wrong place. No, you are taken and put in prison. If somebody does not recall and say, where's my brother? I haven't seen him for days. And then start looking. It could be months or you may never be seen again. NRM people, why is that normal? How is Museveni okay doing that? What I don't understand the most is the people who go to the church of Patience Rwabuogo, the daughter of Museveni, whose husband holds the license for human trafficking, human parts. internal organ trafficking license is held by Rwawogo, who is the husband of Patience, who Patience is the daughter of Museveni, who has killed a lot of people, who Patience is the sister of Muhoozi, who has publicly testified about killing Ugandans, including saying he wants Bobi Wine for dead. He has tweeted, we have the tweets, we'll never erase those. We have filed all, Muhoozi came out and said, I have not killed enough this January election period. I need to kill more. Which, I'm speaking, NRM people, are you normal? Is that normal for you? Why would you go, and what are you looking for in the Church of Patience Rwawogo? I understand they're going to make her a bishop. That does not concern me, because everything they have has been accrued or has been earned, not earned. Everything they have gotten in a crooked way. Muhoozi and all of his ranks are all fraudulent. He did not earn any. You can't be a general and you're that fat. You can hardly walk. You're intoxicated all the time. You can't run from here to there. You had a Muhoozi run and you couldn't run. You were not part of the run. Tell me how you're a general. But besides the point, to say that they're going to make her a bishop or whatever, sure, let them do. They can do whatever they want. Why are you Ugandans supporting these people? Why are you going to those churches? Some of you have lost your people mysteriously. Some of you, after they have done away with your parents, they will even bring you closer and give you some silly positions. And then you feel like you've arrived. And yet you should be avenging the death of your parents or whomever you had who mysteriously was killed or taken life of. Many of the generals from Acholi, many of the leaders from Acholi whose lives have been taken away, their children have been brought close. Brought close, which is ridiculous. Because the cause of your loss is bringing you closer. How crazy is that? So the people who are going to be at, I think I don't know what they call it, coronation or whatever of a bishop, it is unbelievable that this woman who wants to become a bishop has not been able to pray away all the father's demons, has not been able to convert her family that does a lot of evil things to become Christian or to have the right heart. So if you are going to Patience Rwawogo's church, don't you wonder why Museveni is so evil? Don't you wonder, okay, let's say you don't believe me that Museveni is evil. Museveni has stated for a fact that he participated in the killing of Sheikh Chirevu. That is enough. Muhoozi, the sister of Patience Rwawogo, has come out many times and said he has only killed 21 people during the general elections. He would have loved to kill more. Okay, let's say that's not enough for you. Okay? Your husband is a trafficker of internal organs to wherever. That means he needs a supply to sustain his business. That is why National Unity Platform or People Power supporters die every day mysteriously, because he needs a supply to maintain his business of internal organ exportation. That is why people die day and night. Okay, let's say that is not enough. You have had so many different in-laws and relatives and friends. Sam Kutesa has robbed Uganda. I mean, you can't even add enough zeros anymore. Why don't you pray away or pray for some of these people to change? How can you call yourself a Christian and a bishop when you're surrounded by such evil? That means you're evil yourself. They say, tell me what your 8 friends are, and I'll tell you you're the 9th one. If you walk around with 7 thieves, you're the 8th thief. There's no way Patience is righteous and is bishop worthy and is, I could say, even pastor worthy when she's surrounded by this much evil. It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Ugandans, let us wake up and smell whatever we can smell. Wake up and smell. They say smell the coffee, smell the roses, smell the katogo, smell whatever you want to smell. Ugandans, let us wake up and smell the coffee. These people are not legitimate. They're not. They're not legitimate. And the more we ignore and say, you know what, I'm comfortable today, does not guarantee the fact that your discomfort tomorrow will be the same. It does not guarantee that tomorrow will be better for you. All of you are in line. You're like pigs heading to the butcher. All Ugandans are in line. For as long as you believe and support this regime, support Museveni, all of you who think you're in good places now, those of you who are NRM Secretariat, NRM this, NRM MPs, remember they are now introducing their own children. Because most of the cream, the older people that came from the bush with Museveni, are looking to retire, even if they can't afford to die yet because they're worried about the future with the coming of His Excellency. They're concerned with continuation. And so their children are taking up positions. When will Ugandans take up position? When? When? In my opinion, somebody like Olaro Tunu would have been most useful at home, in an office at home, because then he's wishing well for his community. He's doing the right thing for the community. He's standing deep, knee deep in the Choli. This organization, Rochopaju, is no joke. It's a fantastic idea. Okay, he's knee deep at home. This is where he needs to be because of his excellence on the international platform many years ago. This is not the first time Olaro Tunu has been poised for this position. He has had interest before, but Museveni has not nominated him. Why now that he's 75 years old, he's in retirement, he just returned home, why is Museveni pushing Olaro Tunu out of Uganda? It's because he doesn't want him there. He doesn't want him there. And this is not a well wish for him. And because we have buried so many intellectuals, we have to keep some of our jewels to ourselves. We have to keep them because we need you at home. We need you where you're excelling the best. And Museveni knows how powerful the grassroots are. He knows why. And he sees exactly how powerful Rochopaju can become. That's why he has sent him to fail on the international stage. So when he comes back, we'll look at him like, oh, loser. But we won't, because that is one of ours. That's how we will embrace Olaro Tunu no matter what. Even if he wins, let's say he wins, even better. If he doesn't, we will, with open arms, he'll come home. But I just wanted to share that because we have learned for so long, that's how Museveni plays. He does not wish you well. He just wants you to hang dry when the time comes. So, in any way possible, dissociate with the NRM. Continue preaching the word. One of the messages I took from the convention was that His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu said, wherever you are, use whatever you have. Use the resources around you. In fact, tomorrow we have a fundraiser for the political prisoners who just got released after 5 years in detention. And also, obviously, that spills over to the ones who are still in there. Use the weapons you have. If you're out here and you're abroad, you know of your senator, you know your community leaders, put the word out, share what's going on. I was speaking to a friend of mine that I've known for a long time that lives on the East Coast today. And he said, why are you doing these things? And I said, you have no idea what's happening in Uganda. You have no idea. I started to explain to him. I explained all of the details, the suffering, the political prisoners, the unrest, all of this. Eventually he said, you know what? You're doing the right thing. And I think he's sold on the idea, and whatever they can do, he works for the UN, they're going to be able to push this further. So whatever you can do, whether it is in a big way, in the tiny, you might think it's tiny, it goes so far. So don't be discouraged. That's what the president advised. He said, do whatever you can. What we're doing right now at this stage is I forget the word. If you can remind me what he said. We are in the third stage of this process, and this stage we are reorganizing. That's what he said. We are organizing ourselves. And some of the powerful things that he said, which I took to heart, because I realize, and I'm a firm believer, that you are not in any place by mistake. You will not go through anything in your life by accident or by mistake. Everything that happens to you prepares you for the next level of your life. So he just helped me firm that completely, because when he was speaking, he said, when they put me in prison in Uganda, I realized I had work to do there, which makes sense. When they put me in house arrest, I realized there was work to do there. My children, there was need for me to bring them up to speed with all the details as they were. And today, when you see His Excellency Kyagulanyi's children, man, kudos to Bobby and His Excellency. Those children will never be the same. But the best thing about them is that they're going to turn out to be the most great individuals to walk this earth. Seeing firsthand what they've gone through, having to be excommunicated from home, having to rebuild from nothing, all those are strengths that, I've gone through that before in my life, and I've gotten to a stage in my life where if I didn't go through what I went through, I would never be where I am. And I can tell you, I'm doing pretty good. So all of your experiences are meant to catapult you to a stage in life that is even better. Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's being in the U.S. is the biggest thorn in Museveni's shoe than you can ever imagine, and only he understands it the best. So many people will go around and say, oh, he's abroad, he's in exile, he doesn't really want to do. No, it is the most powerful position he can be. He can command a ship from here the best way possible, safely, with a sane mind, with peace of mind, without any interruption, without any losses or fear, than he would in Uganda. Can you imagine Kyagulanyi Ssentamu in Uganda saying, let us have people power convention? It would never happen. That would never happen. Let's say he said, let's do a fundraiser. We did successfully, though. The last election fundraiser was pretty good. We even had people from the NRM and the army contributing to the fundraiser for National Unity Platform. But I'm saying the aftermath after the elections, whatever pushed him out here was meant to happen, and it's for the right reasons, and it's going to get us to the right direction. So people who will say things like he has left, I want you to be empowered that His Excellency's being abroad is the best gift we have. Because when we share information about atrocities or Museveni's behaviors, like his invasion of Sudan, right now there's a lot of SFCs in Sudan trying to maintain Salva Kiir in power. Salva Kiir is almost lifeless. Museveni just wants a position so that nobody can come in and begin to change decisions. God forbid a sharp Sudanese comes into power, keeping Sudan as poor and normal as he would like. In Sudan, let me tell you this. The members of parliament in Sudan sit in containers. I'm talking about these trailer containers that are hot, that are metal. That is where Sudanese members of parliament sometimes have to sit for plenary. That's how bad Sudan is and how desperate Sudan deserves change. We were all excited about Sudan breaking off from the large Sudan. We were hopeful. We thought this is an opportunity for this country to take off. Many in the U.S., we all celebrated. We did not know that Museveni was in the background with his ideas. So, dear Sudan is struggling because Museveni has decided to completely occupy Sudan. The killings, the massacres, the deaths that happen in Sudan are not even traceable. Sometimes they may have records. They are not even traceable. In fact, due to some of the submissions that we've made, Sudan has made. In fact, I met a really, really good friend, Mr. Tutrik Jakani. I don't know if I butchered that. I met a Sudanese representative for People Power, and we're strategizing to see how best. And obviously, he was there with the president and the U.S. Coalition for National Unity Platform. We can do better together. We agreed on a lot of things. We see eye to eye on a lot. What Kenya is going through, what Tanzania is going through, what Sudan is going through, what Burundi is going through, Congo is going through, is all the same. And I know that it may be different, but it's all the same. It's all the same. It's all because of Museveni. So if we can do something together as that region, East Africa, our problems will be solved. If Museveni and Kagame no longer in East Africa, we will be one of the most peaceful regions in the world. Many of us are abroad, want to do something back home, but we can't. I would not go back to Uganda with Museveni there. I know I won't live a day. I wouldn't. I don't even hold that argument, because some people say, oh, maybe not, maybe. No, I know for a fact what I do. I know what they expect. I couldn't. So going back is not even a question of, it is never for me if this guy is still in power. So we agreed that most of what we need to do is to try to see that this person is out of the whole region of East Africa. Many refugees who have left home. Refugee crisis in Uganda is crazy. Right now, the refugees in Uganda who are being processed for third country immigration are killed instead of being sent over and processed to go. And instead, Rwandese families are the ones going with the names of the refugees. So those refugee names are arriving in the US or Canada or wherever, but actually the real people who are supposed to be behind those names are killed and buried secretly in the refugee camps. So that's just one of a few, so many things that this man does that, it truly, if you know an NRM, change your life, change how you treat them, change how you seat them, do not receive them like normally. Really, we have to come to a point where these guys cannot also have peace. They couldn't. They should not have peace. Okay, so His Excellency said that we're at a stage now where we are organizing ourselves. As I mentioned, him being outside here in the US, he defends all of our submissions. He's here if they have any questions. He's in the videos. If they have any questions, they'll talk to him. He's front runner for when it's necessary. He is speaking and engaging the right people. Anybody with a channel says, hey, we're ready to go. We have Senator so-and-so. We're going to meet him. He's doing really, really well. But obviously, as a human being, a family man, you can tell, that all of his wealth being taken away from him as a human being, I can see that is not okay and doesn't sit very well. But he's a fighter. There's a reason why he came from the ghettos of Kamocha all the way to being president. So I draw a lot of inspiration from that. I draw a lot of strength. It was nice meeting everyone. It was a meeting of the minds for us all. I mean, I had never met him personally, and it was just fantastic talking with him. I met people that I would never meet. I met Mordecai Murisa. I met Miracle. You know who Miracle is. The journalist who was shot in the head in Uganda, covering the 2021 elections. I met him. Just wonderful, wonderful. I met so many new friends. We're going to do some big things, collaborating, showing up as necessary. But I wanted to share that with you. Reverend Father Eric, I don't want to say I'm praying for you, because I don't want to look you in the mouth, like they say. I don't want to disrespect you, because I believe you are already in that realm. But I want to say respectfully that we are going to speak up, and we'll continue to speak up on your behalf. That video that you said was already shared where it's necessary. The message has been gotten. I know that Museveni is stubborn and may even go ahead and achieve his mission, but it will not go undocumented. I want to assure you that what you shared and what we heard and what we learned, we know, and we know the perpetrators. We know that it is the ones. Honestly, those are my relatives. Can you believe it? Those are my relatives. but they are the ones in the plot. The one who just got retired is in the plot to get rid of Reverend Father Eric of Gulu. Father Rubangwari, the message has gotten to where it needs to go. And so I feel confident that something will be done about it. It is wonderful that one of our own priests from Uganda, Katongole, has been appointed by the Pope to go to the Vatican to represent, you know, Africa and I think East Africa. Hopefully his position won't be useless. I know that Museveni has influence, but not that far and that much. And the Pope has been concerned with atrocities in Uganda. So I think with Katongole being there, it'll make some headway. So a lot of things are moving along, and Museveni is feeling the pinch, is feeling the need for, you know, to answer questions that he can't even answer. The reason why, you know, the political prisoners are being approached by money and this and that so that they can accept the crimes they did not commit is all because Museveni is being pushed to the realm. So keep doing what you do. We're in this together. You know, I'm back to this, so I will be doing more, obviously. Nothing will stop me. I know that there was a question by one of my friends that does social media like I do, and he said people are suspecting that maybe you are an insider, maybe you are one of them. No, I could never be. In fact, my mother always said I couldn't be an attorney because I like the truth very much. I'm not saying I'm righteous, but I love the truth and I question things. So I could not defend a criminal. No. So one of the things that I believe in, and I believe the truth is only one. You don't have to make it up. You don't have to embellish it. No. The truth is one thing. And if you stick by the truth, like the NRMs should face themselves and realize what the truth is, you can't support a man like this. You cannot become a bishop when your father is a killer. When your father has been president for 40 years and does not want to let go. When your mother has been one of the, has spearheaded some of the killings of some people, like the lady who recently, the court, they ruled against some Muslim people. You cannot be the wife, the daughter or the sister of a murderer, Muhoozi. Muhoozi kills people day and night. You cannot be a bishop. You cannot. So this bishop nonsense, and I'm surprised Lodana Jackson is in Uganda to do that, because one time when Benny Hinn was in Uganda, see, religion is a problem, okay? Religion can be a problem if not treated well, because somehow Benny Hinn was in Uganda and he cannot be useless. He had to issue some sort of prophecy. He said, I see something big happening for this family. Oh boy, she took that and ran with it, and now she wants to be crowned bishop. You cannot be a bishop. All of you who go to Patience's church, you are going to the wrong church. You are not believers and you are fetching nothing from there. You are not spiritually healed. In fact, if anything, you may be receiving more evil spirits in you than having the ones you have maybe taken out of you. So this bishop nonsense is actual nonsense. She does not deserve it. She has not lived like it. Her surrounding does not exist as is. Ugandans are suffering. Political prisoners are not a secret. Eddie Mutwe was not a secret. Kasese was not a secret to this so-called Patience. When Elwelu went and killed all these people from Kasese, that was not a secret. When the LRA happened, that was not a secret, Natasha. I mean, Patience. You know, if you are so powerful, your mother had some sort of epilepsy or some kind of seizure problem. Why didn't you pray her to heal? Why didn't you heal your mother? So people of Uganda, we must wake our minds up and see reality for what it is. These people have fooled us for so long. Come out and see, and for yourselves, and see the facts. It is not about being spoon-fed garbage all the time. They have lied to us for so long. It has always been Museveni. All of East Africa, all of the instability in East Africa is all because of Museveni. All because of Museveni. So let's wake up. Let's smell the coffee. Let's get organized. Let us do what we need to do with what we have. You know, if you need to share information, pass it on as much as you can. Let us do the best we can, because these people are at the brink of losing everything. Whatever they built, Museveni cannot afford to die now because he hasn't passed the baton like he thought he would. It's too late. The UN is pushing for accountability. What about these people? South Sudan is being investigated again with suspicion that Museveni's involvement was there, because they found ammunition that was used by Museveni or given to Museveni for UNISOM that were used to kill people in South Sudan. How come? Too many questions, very few answers. So I love you and leave you. I'll see you again soon. I just wanted to say thank you all for being at the convention. I loved meeting everyone who was there. I enjoyed being around the right minds. All of my brothers and sisters from different areas, Canada, Germany, Australia, UK. We had all chapters present. All chapters present. I mean, it was amazing. Dr. Daniel Kauma, excellent job. You've been president for a while. You've done phenomenal. We appreciate you. Everybody in office, my partners in what we do. It's been amazing, 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 and so good to meet you all. To His Excellency Chagulanyi Sentamu, we don't even have the right words to thank you. You've given up everything just to do the right thing for Uganda. Man, I will support you no matter what. I will support you. I'll be here. Whatever I can do, I will do. Okay, so we'll meet tomorrow at the fundraiser. Everybody, let's come together and support and support and support. You know, slowly we'll get there. By the inch, it's a cinch, but we'll get there. Okay, I love you all and take care.